The college football national championship is here. Michigan taking on Washington. It's Austin, joined by Logan. We are here to give out our favorite picks for this monumental game. First, we're going to do a recap of last week. Very solid week for us. Once again, Logan, back-to-back, 2-1 days. We'll take it. Wisconsin plus 10.5. They were flirting with winning that game outright. Washington plus 4.5. You can keep the points, as Logan said. They won that one outright. They're now in the national championship. Then Liberty plus 17.5. Never stood a chance, but hey, we're never going to complain about a 2-1 day. Hopefully, we can go 1-0. Technically, we actually both have picks in this one. Logan's going to talk about who he likes to win this game and cover, and I also like a prop in this game. So we're going to dive into those. If you are new, my name's Austin. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button down below. We got plenty of videos coming your guys' way. Logan, I'm going to lead it off. You got who you think's going to cover the spread in this game. Who are you rolling with, and why on this monumental, the final game of the college football season? Who are you rolling with?
Yeah, it's here, the end of the college football season. It's been a great ride, but I got to go with the wagon. Michigan, minus 4.5, minus 113 odds on FanDuel, currently your best value there. I mean, I have to take Michigan, even though, as Austin mentioned, I was on Washington last week. I told you, I really liked Washington's matchup versus Texas. Thought they'd win that game outright. We took them for the points with safety. Didn't even need the points. I think this one is just a bad matchup for Washington, because if you watch the Rose Bowl, like obviously I did, the Michigan's defense surely stood out to you like it did to me, because they made the stops when they needed to. I mean, Michigan held Alabama to a season low 288 yards of offense in the Rose Bowl and haven't allowed an opponent to reach 400 total yards in a game this season. We're betting on greatness on that side of the ball, and I think that's what we're getting here with Michigan. For them to win and cover this one, obviously their defense is going to have to play tough because they have a ton of playmakers on Washington's offense. They're going to have to limit the big plays from Penix Jr. Obviously, Odunze he's an absolute baller. They tore apart Texas with those big, quick strike plays. I don't think they're going to be able to do that against Michigan, though, because the Michigan secondary held Alabama to just 116 passing yards in their win. And what you can come out and say, well, Milroe is not Michael Penix Jr. Obviously, I know that. But what I do know is that a lot of the secondary, guys, and the way Michigan knows how to defend, they're really good at limiting the big plays down the field. I'd be actually pretty shocked if you see receivers, making it, down the field uncovered like they were in that Texas game. I just don't think Michigan's secondary is going to let them do that. And then we can talk about Michigan's offense on the side of the ball. Obviously, Blake Corum is the guy I want to talk about because he leads the FBS in rushing touchdowns and set the school record for rushing touchdowns in a career. What a career at Michigan it's been for Blake Corum. He runs hard. He's one of those running backs. I love backing guys like that they always seem to fall forward. He really never takes negative yardage, and he always is falling forward. Try to get the line to gain. I definitely think Blake Corum and this rushing attack will be able to move the ball on Washington's run defense, because if you look at, kind of how they fared on the season, they were middle of the pack of the season, and Washington's potent offense, the way they want to score points, they can't be out on the field if Michigan is taking some long chew clock drives. And I think that's what they're going to try to do. I don't think they're going to try to play, in a brand of football that they haven't played most of the season, which would be, JJ McCarthy just go out and throw the ball 40, 50 times. They're not going to do that. They're going to just play ball control. They're going to play great defense and great offense up front. JJ McCarthy, if you can say what you want about him. He made the plays when he needed to. Look at his stats in that Alabama game: 221 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. I was really impressed with McCarthy because the way that game was flipping, I was like, Michigan could come up really small when it matters. It kind of letting that game slip away late, but they didn't. They made the plays when they needed to, and it was with JJ McCarthy doing it how he's done most of the year, which is just kind of completing passes, 73.2 completion percentage all year. This is a guy that they don't make him try to, throw some 40, 50 yard bombs down the field. He'll make them every now and then, but it's mostly roll out, read, some check downs, some easy intermediate routes. That's what he's been doing. I really like how they scheme this Michigan offense, and I think they're going to put up points at will against Washington. Also, kind of last few points of note, Washington star running back Dylan Johnson carted off with a lower leg injury, in that game against Texas. Even though the injury happened, he's still probably going to play in this game, but you can't tell me he's going to be near 100%. It's just not probably going to happen in that one. So a bit of an injury concern for a big piece in that offense. And I think Michigan wins the battle in both trenches, offensive and defense. I think they make the plays they needed to. And we want to talk about the look ahead line. If you were looking at the lines before this game was even set, the line opened at 6.5, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty interesting," because I think Michigan's at least a touchdown better than Washington. Obviously, the public bet it, or the line shifted a little bit to 4.5. But I think this is still a touchdown plus game, and I think Michigan wins this one going away pretty easily. I think it's going to be a 7+ point game, and I'm riding with the Wolverines in this one.
Logan, love the pick. You see my shirt. I switched wardrobe change. I love Michigan Wolverines as well. And I'm going to talk about them a little bit, why I like them as well as you to cover. And then I'm going to talk about my prop at the same time because I'm taking the Michigan Wolverines star running back. Blake Corum is over in rushing yards, just about 101.5. A super high line, but I don't think they set it high for no reason. Now, Logan kind of talked about Blake Corum. He's been a stud. He gets into the end zone like it's going out of style. The guy's been super, super good. However, his line in terms of rushing yards, if you actually look at this line and you go back over the whole season, he's only gone over this yards line once. And that's what me saying, hey, they know that they're going to run the football. And you look at his rushing attempts props, it's at 22.5. They don't set a 22.5 rush attempts line unless you're like Derrick Henry in like 2017, where he was just getting the rock 30 times a game. They're like, yeah, we're going to run the football. You're going to have to stop it. And while Washington's defense has played much better recently, I don't think they have the facilities to stop Blake Corum in this rushing attack by Michigan. Now, sure, you can look at last week. Alabama, they have the defensive players. They were able to stop Corum for the most part. He ran for 83 yards. Wasn't able to stop him when it counted, though. In overtime, he ran for 25 yards there. And I just don't think Washington can stop him. I mean, Washington, we saw last week. The Quinn Ewers threw for over 300 yards. He obviously had a good game. Very, positive pass game script. However, C.J. Baxter and Jadon Blue, they both ran for over 6.5 yards per carry. And while, sure, neither of them had more than 10 carries each, I think had like 9 carries on the dot, they both got into the 66 and 70-yard realm. If they are giving up Blake Corum to get even just 5 or 6 yards per carry, Washington going to be in for a long day on Monday night. I just think that Blake Corum's too talented. They're going to run their best player into the ground. And I think this is a really, really good spot to back Blake Corum, who's been really good all year long. Hasn't had, the yards to back up necessarily the touchdowns. But I do think at the end of the day, Blake Corum's getting the rock a ton. But if he gets even close to 20 rushing attempts, I'm pretty confident he goes over this line, averages over 5 yards per carry. All it takes is one big one, which he's certainly capable of doing. But I just don't think they have an answer for him. If they want to load the box, they certainly can, but I think McCarthy will make the plays if that's the case. I just think Michigan's going to come in here with a game plan that's running the football, winning the trenches. That's what they did against Alabama, and I'd argue they probably should have beaten Alabama by a lot more, but they had so many miscues, so many errors that in that game, Michigan's honestly probably pretty lucky to get here, given all the errors and what happened in that game against Alabama. They made it here. I expect them to clean up those errors and have a great game offensively, running the football, led by Blake Corum. I know his overs at 101.5, and there might be some people that are on sports books that don't have the ability to bet college props. I know sometimes, when the national championship comes around, they let you do it a little bit more in different states. Some states have it, some states don't. If you're on like a daily fantasy app, you certainly will have a Blake Corum line like Sleeper or PrizePicks or Underdog Fantasy. But Corum, we're rolling with you, man. Go get 101.5 yards. And look, Michigan Wolverines want to cover that 4.5. That would be an electric end to the season. But Logan, any final thoughts before we sign out of it here until August when college football returns? Obviously, you'll be in a lot more videos before then. But any final thoughts before the end of the season wraps up?
Yeah, it's been a great college football season. Again, I want to thank you all for watching these videos and kind of supporting Austin and I all throughout college football. Austin and I've always said this: college football is actually one of the harder sports to bet because you're betting on kids, you're betting on a lot of weird, wacky outcomes. But I still really do like how we're finishing this year out, and hopefully we finish it out 2-0, with a player prop win and a spread win for this one.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. College football, we would say, is the hardest sport to bet because there's so many variables that you have to factor in, especially come bowl season. But we know who we're playing tonight. Let's have a wonderful end of the college football season. Go 2-0. Let us know your favorite picks, who you're riding with down below, whether you're riding with Michigan, you're riding with Penix, who, if Penix goes off tonight, I'm curious, honestly, if Penix has a monster game, where he goes in the NFL draft, because that is an interesting question that maybe is a good podcast debate. But this is not a podcast. This is the best bets video, and those are our best bets of the day. Enjoy the College Football National Championship. Austin Logan signing out. If you're just college football folk, we'll see you back in August or September, but you'll see both of us in plenty of other videos. We're signing out. See you in the next one. Peace.